Are you ready for a great adventure? Today, on The World Is Yours. We're off to Venice, Italy, where we'll float down the Grand Canal in a gondola, explore the Venetian lagoon and the island of Burano, and check out the famous Piazza of San Marco with its lovely basilica. Then we head to Scotland, where we'll ponder over the Loch Ness monster, see some historical castles, and hike to the top of Arthur's Seat. And finally, we're going to Thailand. There, we'll visit Amphawa's floating market, participate in 2 wild festivals, one full of water and the other full of lanterns, before finally taking a much-deserved breather on the beaches of Pattaya. So grab your backpack. The world is waiting, and the world is yours. Venice is a city in the northeast of Italy, and the capital of a region called Veneto. What's really special about it, though, is that while most cities are built on one large piece of solid land, Venice is built on 118 small islands, connected by 400 bridges. All of these islands are located in a body of water called the Venetian lagoon, which is part of the Adriatic Sea. Venice is named after the ancient Veneti people, who lived in this region a long time ago in the 10th century BCE. But it also has many nicknames, such as the Floating City, the City of Masks, or the Queen of the Adriatic. Venice is famous for its beauty, especially its artwork and its architecture. Well, you'll see for yourself. This is the Grand Canal. Imagine the main street of a city, and now turn it into a canal instead. All the traffic consists of boats instead of cars. You can even take water buses, known as vaporettos, or water taxi. This isn't just a fun tourist thing to do either. It's the way people get around. Actually, you can't drive cars anywhere in Venice. If you have a car, you have to park it outside of the city. The canal ranges from 98 to 295 feet wide. Its average depth is 16.5 feet. One end of the canal takes you to the lagoon, close to the Santa Lucia railway station, and the other end takes you to San Marcos, one of the 6 sestieri, or neighborhoods of Venice. Along the canal, you'll see some amazing buildings, over 170 of them to be exact. Most of them are pretty old, too, built between the 13th and 18th centuries. Why are they so fancy? Well, the ancient noble families of Venice were very concerned with showing off their wealth, so they built lavish palaces, or palazzos. The really cool thing is, these palazzos aren't built on a street. They are built straight out of the water. One of the most famous sights of the Grand Canal is the ornate Rialto Bridge. And of course, it wouldn't be Venice without those famously beautiful gondolas with their singing navigators known as gondoliers. Let's catch a ride on one. Gondolas are long, sleek boats that look like extra long canoes. The gondolier stands at the end of the gondola and navigates with one long oar. Look at him go! He never loses his balance. If you're lucky, he'll sing some traditional Italian songs while he rows. Did you know that gondolas were the main form of transportation in Venice from the 12th century all the way until the late 20th century when speedboats were invented? This is one long-standing tradition, still going strong today. Venice isn't the only cluster of islands within the Venetian lagoon. The lagoon is an enclosed saltwater bay that stretches from the River Sile in the north to the River Brenta in the south. And the total area of the lagoon is 212 square miles. 8% of the lagoon is made of islands, 11% is water, and the remaining 81% is salt marshes and mudflats. Let's continue floating along and head towards another famous site in the area, the colorful houses of Burano. Burano is an island in the northern end of the Venetian lagoon. Well, actually, it's 4 islands, linked together. Burano is densely populated and is most famous for 2 things: the lace that is made there and the bright, colorful houses. Let's head back to Venice and check out the famous San Marcos area. The main square of Venice is called the Piazza San Marco. This plaza was built all the way back in the 9th century, and it was just a small square containing a few trees in front of the Basilica of San Marco, which used to be part of the Palace of the Doge. A Doge was the title of the highest elected official and the chief magistrate of Venice from the years 697 to 1797. The plaza was expanded in 1174 when the small canal that bordered it was filled in. In Venice, even the ground is art. But the new stones weren't just beautiful, they actually served as a map, so the merchants of the square would know where they could set up their stalls. How cool is that? The piazza has always been the location of important government buildings and facilities. And that's still true today. And don't forget the pigeons. There are plenty of those here too. You can also still see the elaborate Doge's Palace with its Gothic architecture. This grand palace was completed in the early 1400s. By far the most famous building in the piazza is the Basilica of San Marco. Let's take a closer look. The basilica was first commissioned in the year 1071 by the Doge at the time. The architecture is a mix of Byzantine and Venetian styles. In other words, influenced by both Eastern and Western styles. Isn't it impressive? Some people have nicknamed it the Church of Gold. See that tower? That's the bell tower, also known as a campanile. Can you guess how tall it is? Its actual height is 323 feet. That's really tall. But this isn't the original tower. That one was built in the 9th century, whereas the one we're looking at now was built in 1912 after the original one collapsed. It's time to move on to our next adventure. To Scotland we go. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Which of these is not a city in Scotland? A. Dundee. B. Dublin. C. Edinburgh. D. Glasgow. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. Welcome back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Which of these is not a city in Scotland? A. Dundee. B. Dublin. C. Edinburgh. D. Glasgow. If you said B, Dublin, you're right. Dublin is in Ireland. Ireland is definitely worth a visit, but today we're headed to the gorgeous green land of Scotland. Scotland takes up most of the northernmost third of the island of Great Britain and is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, as well as the North Sea, the North Channel, and the Irish Sea. But Scotland isn't just part of one giant island. It's also made up of an additional 790 islands, although only 130 of them are inhabited. You may have heard of some of them. Do the Hebrides or the Northern Isles ring a bell? Scotland was an independent country from the early Middle Ages to the year 1707, when it entered into a union with the Kingdom of England. Throughout history, Scotland has tried to separate itself from the United Kingdom many times, but to this day, they are still united. Let's begin our journey through Scotland by coming face to face with one of its most well-known myths. Ever heard of the Loch Ness Monster? I'm sure you have. The monster probably isn't real. Either way, the lake is definitely real. Loch Ness is a large freshwater lake in the Scottish Highlands, 23 miles north of the city of Inverness. It may be the most famous Scottish loch, but it's actually not the largest one. That would be Loch Lomond. However, Loch Ness does win in terms of water volume because it's incredibly deep. How deep? 755 feet. So where did this rumor come from anyway? Well, the evidence is mostly anecdotal. That means that people have thought they've seen something with their own eyes, as opposed to scientific evidence. Well, since we're here, we should definitely check out Uruqhart Castle. After all, it's right near Loch Ness. If it seems a little drafty in here, look up. There's no roof left. In fact, this whole castle is completely in ruins. But there was a time when Uruqhart Castle was one of the largest castles in all of Scotland. Uruqhart Castle was actually a fortress and was the site of many battles throughout the Middle Ages. Another famous castle in the Scottish Highlands is Stirling Castle. Thanks to its history and architecture, this castle is one of the largest and most important castles in all of Scotland. Stirling Castle is located in the town of Stirling, about halfway between Edinburgh and Glasgow, just a little bit to the north. Before Scotland became unified with England, this castle was the home of various Scottish royals. The castle itself is located on top of Castle Hill, appropriately. It's surrounded by rocky cliffs on 3 sides, making it a super strategic place in a battle. Time to head to our last stop in Edinburgh, Arthur's Seat. What do you think it is? A giant chair, maybe? Nope, it's actually a giant hill. It rises up right out of the middle of Edinburgh, and you can see it from almost anywhere in the city. Now, you're probably wondering who Arthur was. Are we talking about King Arthur, the fabled medieval king of England, with his round table, knights, and magical sword Excalibur? Well, it's possible. Many people believe this is where the name comes from. This large hill, or small mountain, is located about a mile east from the historical Edinburgh Castle and is part of a large park known as Holyrood Park. It rises to a height of 822 feet, and it's an easy hike if you want to experience fantastic panoramic views of the city. Let's grab a bite to eat before we move on to our next destination. I know something delicious we can try. Kipper. A kipper is a small, oily fish. It's generally split down the middle, gutted, then salted or pickled, and finally smoked over oak wood chips. Remember, part of traveling the world is trying new things and experiencing local dishes. And this, my friend, is the taste of Scotland. Scotland is a magical place, for sure. But alas, it's time to go, because more adventure awaits in Thailand. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Which of these industries is banned in Thailand? A. Coal mining. B. Solar energy production. C. Nuclear energy production. D. Logging. The answer coming up when we return to The World Is Yours. Welcome back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Which of these industries is banned in Thailand? A. Coal mining. B. Solar energy production. C. Nuclear energy production. D. Logging. If you said D, logging, you're right. It may seem strange, but actually, only 100 years ago, the northern part of Thailand was completely covered in hardwood forest. Now, only a quarter of those trees are left. So you can understand why they're worried about losing any more of their gorgeous forests. At last, we've arrived in fabulous Thailand, or as they used to call it, Siam. Thailand is a country in Southeast Asia, right in the center of the Indo-Chinese peninsula. The countries that surround it are Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and Malaysia. But Thailand is also made up of many islands too. How many? 1,430 of them. Thailand is the 20th most populated country in the world. Around 69 million people live here. The country has a nickname, the Land of Smiles. Who wouldn't want to visit a place like that? In the 1990s, Thailand became an industrialized country, and now its main industries are manufacturing, agriculture, and of course, tourism. Welcome to Amphawa's floating market. Located near Bangkok, Amphawa used to be a small village, but it has grown over the years due to its popularity with tourists and Thai people alike. Look around at all the activity. There are people selling produce out of boats, grilled seafood stands perched on wooden docks. Take it all in. Everything smells so delicious. There's so much to see here, but we better move along. Let's stick with the water theme and visit the Songkran Water Festival. You're gonna love this. Songkran is arguably the most important festival of the year in Thailand, and it doesn't take place in just one city or region. The whole country gets involved. In fact, Songkran is actually the Thai New Year, and it also represents the beginning of the rainy season. Remember, this is the Songkran Water Festival, so water is everywhere. There are kids with squirt guns and even elephants shooting water out of their trunks. Everyone is fair game. But squirting people with massive amounts of water isn't all just for fun. It's also symbolic. You see, the water represents cleansing yourself in order to bring luck and prosperity in the year to come. Many Thai people go to their local temples during this time and wash their Buddha statues for the same reason. Another great Thai festival is the Loy Krathong Festival. The word Loy means floating, and the word Krathong refers to the decorated baskets made of woven leaves, which are released onto rivers and other bodies of water throughout Thailand. The baskets contain a variety of things, like small portions of traditional foods, incense, candles, coins, or plants, such as spider lilies. The festival takes place during the 12th month of the Thai lunar calendar. So in the Western calendar, that usually ends up being in November. The candles are the most important part of the spectacle. It's a pretty enchanting sight, with hundreds of lights floating peacefully downstream, illuminating the dark night. It's thought that this beautiful tradition originates from ancient rituals in which people would pay their respects to water spirits. So it makes sense that while Thai people release their krathongs as offerings onto local rivers, canals, or ponds, they also make wishes. Like the Songkran Water Festival, Loy Krathong is also celebrated in surrounding countries, though each culture has their own local versions. When we return, we'll stretch out on some beautiful Thai beaches at our final destination, Pattaya. But first, let's test your world knowledge. In Thai culture, which part of the body deserves the most respect? A, the head. B, the feet. C, the knees. D, the hands. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. Welcome back. Let's find out the answer to that question. In Thai culture, which part of the body deserves the most respect? A, the head. B, the feet. C, the knees. D, the hands. If you said A, the head, you're right. In Thai culture, it is essential that you show respect for another person's head. You should never, ever touch another person's head in Thailand, even children. On the other hand, if you meet someone older than you should lower your head to show respect. Welcome to the phenomenal city of Pattaya on the east coast of the Gulf of Thailand. Only 62 miles southeast of Bangkok, Pattaya is a popular destination for tourists and Thai people alike. There are two main beachfronts. Pattaya Beach, which is parallel to the center of the city with its towering skyscrapers, and Pratamnak on the southern side, which is known for having great views featuring Wat Phra, a big, beautiful temple on a hill. So if you want more of a city vibe, Pattaya Beach is the place for you. If you're in the mood for something that feels a little more secluded, you might prefer Pratamnak. Either way, you can't lose. I wish we could stay and relax in the sun all day, but this wraps up our adventure for today. We started in Venice, where we floated beneath gorgeous bridges on the Grand Canal, discovered the splendor of the Venetian lagoon, and played with pigeons in front of the Basilica of San Marcos. We trekked to the Scottish Highlands and the mysterious Loch Ness, explored ancient castles, and examined artifacts from Scottish history at the museum. And we experienced some fascinating festivals in Thailand, as well as the amazing floating market of Amphawa and the heavenly beaches of Pattaya. Thanks for joining us on our trip around the world. There are many more adventures to come. Until next time, the world is waiting and the world is yours.